Welcome, everyone, to Queer Lawyers Speak, hosted by LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ plus bar association. My name is Adam Zebelian. I'm a partner at Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck, where I practice family law. And I'm also the current president of LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ plus bar association. Today's topic is mentorship, not only in the legal profession, but also in the greater LGBTQ plus community. And I'm joined today by two fellow board members, Marion Moore, directly to my left, and Skip Harsh. And so why don't you two introduce yourselves? Marion, why don't you start?
Sure. I'm Marion Moore. I work for the City of Chicago. I am the chief of the city section of the Federal Civil Rights Litigation Division. I am a queer lawyer. My wife and I live with our two kids in the Westridge neighborhood in Chicago, and we love seeing what the city has to offer.
And you've been a longtime member of LAGBAC.
Yes, over 10 years probably, I think.
Okay, and you've been on the board 2 years now.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, very good. Skip?
Hi, everyone. I'm Skip Harsh. I work for the American Bar Association. I am the director of the ABA's Commission on Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity and the ABA's Commission on Hispanic Legal Rights and Responsibilities. So I do a lot of policy and advocacy work for the American Bar Association in sort of the DE&I realm. My husband and I live in Wrigleyville, and we will be celebrating our 9-year wedding anniversary in June. And just very happy to be here.
Congratulations on the anniversary.
Thank you.
Now, you said that you're an employee of the ABA. That's the American Bar Association.
Correct, yeah.
How long have you been on LAGBAC's board?
I think we're going on 16 years. I think it was 2008 was my first year.
When did you graduate law school?
2007.
Okay, so you've been on the board since you were a baby lawyer.
I was. I got introduced to LAGBAC during law school, and I was one of the inaugural recipients of our scholarship. I think the first year that they actually offered it.
Through the foundation, our 501c3 arm.
Correct, yep. And I used it to intern at Lambda Legal for the summer.
And I believe you're our longest serving board member currently.
Currently, yes, that's correct.
And you may be the longest serving board member ever.
It's possible.
Okay, maybe we'll have to dig into the historical records to figure that out.
There we go.
It's quite an honor.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Today's topic is mentorship. You, Marion, are the co-chair of LAGBAC's mentorship committee. Why do you believe mentorship is so important in the legal community, and especially for queer lawyers?
Well, first of all, for all lawyers, it's important because for so many reasons. For me, I think one of the most important things is that lawyers encounter so many different situations, whether it be an ethical question or a legal question. All these things come up, and it's really important to have someone who you can talk to about it. You have your supervisors, of course, you have your colleagues, and you should be talking about all these issues with them, but sometimes it is good to get another perspective. And a mentor, somebody outside of where you work, can really help with that. So I think generally mentors are very important for that and to provide guidance about different career paths, things like that. I think for queer lawyers specifically, it's so important because we're all lawyers. We know that it can be very stressful, especially when you're first starting. There's a lot of work to be done. There are a lot of things to learn. And then queer lawyers, a lot of us have this additional kind of stress of, well, how am I going to manage being a queer lawyer in addition to all of these other things I'm dealing with? And I think having a mentor who is also queer, who you can talk to about these things and who can guide you about, should you be out? How should you come out? How do you deal with your identity with clients, with colleagues, with supervisors, with, just general, with judges, opposing counsel, all of that. How does that work in? How can you handle situations that come up? It's really important to talk about these things so that queer lawyers can know how to respond to them, and then also to kind of take off the additional pressure and emotional pressure of having to deal with this other thing. So I think that's really important.
And it's particularly true now with our gender nonconforming members of our community, our trans members, and our non-binary members, how they present at work, how they ensure they're respected at work, and that can often be helped by having a mentor to guide you through that process.
Absolutely.
Because no one teaches you how to navigate those waters in college or law school, what have you. So, Skip, same question to you. Why do you believe mentorship is important, not only just in the legal community at large, but also for queer lawyers?
Yeah, I kind of come at mentorship, I think, with a little unique experience just because I haven't spent a career as a litigator or in a law firm. For me, being a mentee or being a mentor has really been about providing opportunities and opening doors for my mentees, and then as those that mentored me, providing me those opportunities when I was either in law school or when when I was just out of law school and trying to sort of navigate what I was going to do as a lawyer when I graduated, right during the middle of the recession. So I really come at it as I want to find out what my mentee is interested in and explore that and introduce them to the right people and get them involved in the right associations or the right advocacy groups, whether that be LAGBAC or other bar associations or other nonprofit groups, but really making those connections and building, helping them build those bridges, I think is so key. We're in a city where we have a lot of law schools, and not everybody is recruited and goes to big law. And a lot of our law students, especially those in the LGBTQ plus community, and especially our trans and non-binary and gender non-conforming law students, don't necessarily know what they're going to do when they come out of law school. So having a mentor that can really guide you as you sort of enter into the legal profession is really key. And I'm very fortunate that I've had some really great mentors and some really great mentees where I've been able to sort of give back what my mentors gave to me in sort of that realm of introducing people and building bridges and trying to give them opportunities to volunteer and get more involved.
That's a good point. Because we are in such a large legal market here in Chicago, there is a lot of emphasis on joining one of those large multinational firms, some of which are headquartered here in Chicago. But there's a lot of other legal work to be done here. And if you're not one of those few that go to big law, as it's called, you need a mentor to help you not only learn how to practice as a lawyer, but just navigate the profession.
Yeah, coming out of law school, there's so many different bar associations, and there's so many different ways to get involved in the legal community, but it can really be overwhelming if you don't have somebody to sort of help you guide and navigate this whole legal arena. We know because we're all board members on a bar association, but if you don't have that person to sort of help you and guide you, it can really be overwhelming, and you can just sort of get lost in the sea of it.
So we're all contemporaries here. I believe you graduated in 2009.
2010.
2010.
Mm-hmm.
I was 2009 from law school. You were 2000.
I was 2007.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. So the market was really bad when we graduated. So you're right. I think the mentorship has been key to any successes I've had in my career because we were at such a disadvantage when we graduated. Marion, you are a chief. What's your title at the city?
I'm a chief assistant corporation counsel.
So you have many lawyers under you, including many young lawyers. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah.
How do you implement mentoring, which is essential to the success of your division, at work?
Well, We have a few different ways. For my division specifically, we are divided up into sections, and we make sure that the individual supervisors meet with the more junior attorneys and talk through everything with them. Obviously the casework, but just kind of checking in as well. I personally, because I care so much about this, go around every so often and kind of pop into everyone's office and see how they're doing, see if they have any questions, tell them, you can talk to me about anything, whether it's about a case or if you're dealing with something else, that you have a question navigating something related to the job, just always come talk to me. So in my division, that's kind of how we make sure that everybody has somebody who at least feels like a mentor. And then department-wide, we actually have a committee on inclusion and diversity, and we have a specific mentorship program for all of the law clerks who come work for us. They're paired off with a member of the committee and do more of a formalized mentoring program. But there's a lot of kind of informal mentoring that goes on, I would say, in government work. The lawyers who you see practice in the same way you do, you kind of navigate towards each other, and you can see that it's kind of like you take someone under your wing and help guide them on all aspects of the job.
Am I correct that the Corporation Counsel is the largest legal office in the city, or second largest?
It markets itself as such, I'm pretty sure, on the website.
And the Corporation Counsel is the city's law firm, essentially?
Yes.
Okay. So you brought up a good point where people kind of navigate to certain people to be mentored or to take people under their wing. And that's how many of my mentor-mentee relationships developed. It was kind of naturally. But how does LAGBAC assist in pairing people or providing mentorship when that natural process doesn't always happen?
So LAGBAC has what I call a formal mentoring program. So mentors can apply to be mentors, really just sign up, and same with mentees. And we have a whole process. There's a form you fill out with different questions about your identity and what you hope to gain and what you're looking for in this mentoring relationship, and using the answers to the questions from both the mentor and the mentee, we pair people. And then it is with the Illinois Supreme Court's Commission on Professionalism. It's tied into that. So there's a whole plan of specific things to talk about and to guide conversations and activities for the mentor and mentee.
In the Supreme Court's professionalism, is it
the Commission on Professionalism?
That's where our ethics rules come from.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and our mentorship program has been around, and it's been widely successful for years. I mean, I've probably had 6 mentees through LAGBAC because I don't do it every year. And I will say it can be hit or miss. I've had 3 that I have been really close with and I've really helped and guided with their careers. I've had others that, after meeting and talking with them and getting to know their, what they're looking for and their career path, that I know that I'm maybe not the best mentee for them or mentor for them, but I can help find that other person. And that's also really key because, a lot of people, a lot of mentees, a lot of law students aren't like, oh, I want to go into association work. Or, I want to do all this volunteer work, and that's where my expertise lies. But because I know, and because I've been, involved in association life for so long, I'm able to really connect them with other people, and then hopefully they can flourish from that. So our mentorship program is really vital to the association, and I think that's why we see so many mentorship programs in other affiliate bar associations, minority bar associations, and the big bars nationally.
So that what leads me to my next question. You are employed by the American Bar Association. You currently sit on the Chicago Bar Association board. Or did you just
I
term
rolled it off? I turned off last
because there's 2 years. Those are 2-year terms. And you have been on the LAGBAC board for 18 years, almost?
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay. Why are bar associations so vital to mentorship and the legal profession generally?
Well, I think you hit on it earlier. The legal profession is really hard to navigate. And when we come out of law school, we're not necessarily trained to jump into a job where where we know everything about how to litigate, or all of the skills that you need to be in a courtroom, or to work in a firm. And having having mentorship programs and finding mentors really can help you learn those skills and guide you on the right path. Because you, like I said, you come out of law school and you can feel really overwhelmed and really lost. And I think that has sort of lent itself to the legal profession having such a focus on mentorship programs and why they continue to be successful.
Very good, very good. So let's talk a little bit about the two of you. Okay?
Right.
So, Marion, let's start with you. Where are you from? Why did you decide to become a lawyer? And if you're not from Chicago, why Chicago?
I grew up in Oak Park, so
Okay.
I am from Chicago. But still, why Chicago? Why did I stay here? Is because I think it's the best city in the world.
I would agree.
It is so vibrant, all of the neighborhoods and the lake. I love everything about it. So I am happy to stay here. So I grew up in Oak Park. I went to Oak Park High School, go Huskies. And then I went to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. And I majored in psychology and sociology, and I really wanted to be like a social worker or sociologist, something like that. But as I got more into it, the classes that I really loved were actually the law and sociology classes. And I realized towards the end of college that what I actually really liked was the law. And it was so interesting to me how the law impacted everyone's daily lives and all of these just everything. And so I decided to go to law school because I thought I could have more of an impact on people's lives with a law degree. So, then you get to law school and
you realize
change.
maybe that's not true. Skip, same question.
Sure. So I grew up in Illinois as well, a west suburb called Geneva, out in the Fox Valley on the Fox River. Go Vikings.
I thought that was Wisconsin.
That's Lake Geneva.
Oh, okay.
I know. People always say that, and then they think I'm from Wisconsin because of my connections to Wisconsin. But no, I actually grew up in Illinois in the west suburbs. And
So
I went,
two suburbanites on the panel with me.
and then went to University of Iowa undergrad. So I think we're all Big Teners.
Yes. Michigan State here.
Yep. And I was actually a biology major in undergrad, and I worked in a biochem lab for the better part of my college career, almost 4 years. And at some point on that journey, because I thought I was going to become a scientist, I realized that was not the life for me, because it's very isolating. And as you know, I'm not an introvert.
Yeah, being in a lab for 12 hours a day
Yeah.
probably doesn't suit you very well.
But I did love the science aspect of it. So as I was finishing up my college career, I didn't really know what I was going to do. My dad is a lawyer, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just take the LSAT and see how it goes and see if I can get into law school, because that sort of sounds interesting to me. And I think that the way that my brain had been trained as a scientist could sort of translate to law school. And I ended up at DePaul, and sort of the rest was history. Although I did not go into IP or patent law or some of the other scientific fields, but I was really going down the environmental law track in law school, and actually spent some time interning at the AG's office, and then that was sort of the plan.
The Attorney General.
Yeah, the Illinois Attorney General. But during the recession, they went on a multi-year hiring freeze, and association work just sort of fell in my lap.
So it's a good career working for the ABA. The ABA is great.
Yeah, I mean, I love it because I feel like I get to be a part of the legal profession and do a lot of, not necessarily things that lawyers do, but I'm involved in policy making for the ABA, and it's very rewarding.
Marion, did you go to DePaul too?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're both, were you there at the same time? You must have, no, you would have graduated a little bit.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
would have been right before you.
Okay. So going back to Marion, if there's any college students, high school students thinking about going to law school someday, what advice do you have for them now that you've been out for 14 years? Now that you're in the middle of your legal career
right.
and you've weathered the storms.
Where do I start? What I usually tell people who ask me whether or not they should go to law school, I think first of all you have to kind of examine whether you're willing to make the financial commitment, and if you are, then I say like, you should absolutely go if you're even thinking about it, because I'm somebody who loved law school. I thought it was so interesting to learn about how the law affects everything, and it teaches you how to think differently. You basically in law school learn how to approach problems in a different way or in multiple different ways. And seeing how that could be applied in your daily life, I thought it was just so interesting and fun. So I would say to somebody thinking about law school, if you're even thinking about it, first of all, think about think about the money, but once you get past that, yeah, right. Once you get past that, I say go for it.
Yeah. Do you like being a lawyer?
I love it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I also like being a lawyer, and I also like law school. And I told one of my professors this. I said, everyone's hating on law school, all my fellow law students, but I love it. And she goes, I have found people that love law school actually love practicing law, which makes sense. Right. But there's a lot of unhappy lawyers out there. Skip?
I mean, I don't think I could have said it better. I also loved law school. It trained me to think in a way that I didn't know was possible. And that's after, all the science courses that I took. But law school is it's just a totally different way of thinking and writing and analyzing. And I found it fascinating as well. I never really had a strong desire to litigate. I just realized that I loved the law and really understanding it, and and really loved constitutional law. So it's probably no coincidence that I found myself in a position where a lot of the policy and advocacy issues that I deal with are rooted in constitutional law.
So you are the chair of the sexual orientation?
The director.
Director. What does that mean exactly?
So the American Bar Association has 8 principal diversity entities, and they are comprised of either 10 or 12 commissioners that are appointed every year by the ABA president. And then we have a chair of those commissions. And so they oversee specific policy, advocacy, education, resource development work within that specific area of diversity. So for me, it's LGBTQ plus rights and Hispanic legal rights. We also have a commission on women, a pipeline commission, racial and ethnic diversity, a commission on disability rights, and a coalition on racial and ethnic justice in the profession. So the ABA's commitment to DE&I is not understated. It's actually one of the 4 main goals of the American Bar Association is to promote and enhance diversity in the legal profession.
Oh, that's great. I did not know that, actually. Yeah. Now, is there an executive director that's an employee of the American Bar Association?
Yes. So our executive director is Alpha Brady, who became executive director last summer, but she's been with the American Bar Association for a number of years. And we are, as the name says, we are a national bar association. We have employees throughout the country and internationally. And we have about, I think, over 800 employees, maybe a little bit more.
Oh, wow.
We're based in Chicago, and then we have a D.C. office. We have a lot of lawyers on the border doing immigration and asylum work. And then we have our...
as employees of the American Bar?
As employees. And then we have our Rule of Law initiative, which is acronymed ROLI. And they have lawyers throughout the world doing international work. And most of that's grant funded, but they are considered employees of the ABA.
Oh, fascinating. And I believe the ABA's current president is the first Native American president of the American Bar Association.
Correct, Mary Smith, and she's a local Chicagoan.
That's right. That's right. So, okay. How did you come out professionally, Marion, if at all? I know, let's just throw it out there. Did you come out professionally? Were you always out?
So
Things were different when we graduated law school than they are now here in Chicago.
things were very different. But I with the city, I was always out, and it was because of my experience of not being out when I was a law clerk in. At the state's attorney's office, I had an experience that made me feel like I need to be out so that, I can adequately support people. So I've always been out, but I still got the question when I was getting married, oh, you have a boyfriend. And I said, no, I'm marrying the girlfriend who I've been talking about for 5 years, who has come to work social events multiple times and who I openly travel with and talk about. That's who I'm marrying. So despite being very, very out, I still got I didn't know you had a boyfriend.
What mayor did you start under?
Emmanuel.
Okay, so...
Right when he started is when I started.
And so I'm just making an assumption here, but it was probably a pretty welcoming...
Absolutely,
place.
always. I always have been very comfortable at the city.
What about you, Skip? Did you come out professionally? Were you always out?
I've always been out in my legal career. My personal statement applying for law school was about coming out, and I decided that I was not going to be in the closet at all, starting from day one of law school, because I did not come out until 3 weeks before I graduated college. Although it was not a surprise to anybody.
But people were surprised when I came out. I was like, really? Yeah. You were surprised?
So my entire legal career, including law school, has really been shaped by being by identifying as a gay lawyer.
I would say
law
the
student.
same is true for me. I came out in law school as well. I did not. I came out of the closet in increments. First a toe came out, then a leg, then my elbow. It was a process, but I came fully out when I was in law school.
Yeah. It was really liberating to start law school orientation and just, I'm just going to be completely out. And that's how I'm going to, I'm not going to wear a pin that says, hey, I'm gay, but, I wasn't going to hide it. And it made things so much easier. And, DePaul's a very welcoming environment. They had a number of LGBTQ plus professors when I was there. And, most of our law schools have outlaw groups. I should say LGBTQ plus student affinity groups. And for many of us, it's called outlaws.
I think the only school that doesn't call it the outlaw group is Kent. It's Kent Lambdas, I think.
Yeah.
We had outlaw at Penn State, too.
Yeah.
That's where I went to law school. But I didn't really have a choice when I went to law school because I had my friend Eddie, a fellow classmate, was very openly gay, and he's like, "You're gay, right?" in front of everyone. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not gonna hold it back anymore." Yeah. Thank you both for coming today. It's been a great show, and you're both very close friends of mine, and I cherish your friendship very much, and I thank you for your advice today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today for Queer Lawyers Speak, and we will see you next time. Thank you.